Okay, this is the memo for the practice 2. We're going to start off with question 1.1, get pos, which will create a method that will receive the site number and return the position that the site number is found. So if we go to our code, we're literally going to go and we're going to say public. It's going to return the position. Now I know that I said site number and it was actually a stand number, but that kind of stuff you should be able to pick up. Step 1, spell public correctly. So, and it's going to return an int because it's site number. So we're going to say get pos and int. Stand number is what is actually called in here, so we can just call it stand number. And for that, if you don't find it, you're going to return -1, so that you're going to loop through it and you're going to see if you can find it in there. And if not, at the end of it, you would just, after it's finished its loop, you would just return -1 because it wasn't found in there. So loop through our number sites, we're just going to say if campsites position I dot get stand number. Now get stand number is equal to the stand number. Then what we'll do is we'll then return I. So we'll return that position, and that's that question done. Now the next one is to get the site that will receive the stand number and return the site for that. So now instead of returning the int position, we're going to actually return the campsite object. So we're going to say get site here and then int stand number again, or you can call it site number. I don't really care about the naming, but you have to compare it against that. And now here a lot of people overcomplicated this, because literally all you'll do is you'll return campsites position get pos, because you actually already coded this. Your stand number, this will get the position in the array, so you just need to return that position in the array. So you can use a method you created in the previous question to return that object over there. Done. Next question. It says they create a filter method which will receive electricity if they want electricity or not, and return a string containing all of the campsites that have electricity or do not have electricity. Now the interesting thing about this is this is the exact same as a toString. So in this case I'm going to say filter. The only difference is we don't return everything in a string, we only return certain ones. So I'm going to receive a boolean through of whether they want electricity or not. And all we are going to do is we are going to copy and paste exactly what is in the toString, because it is pretty much a toString. And we are literally going to take this line of code, which is where it appends to the string, and we're going to say, I don't want to always append to the string, only if electricity is equal to the campsite at position I dot is electricity. So only if electricity is false, only if the campsite electricity is false would it then return the details of over here. So I hope that makes sense. The next step we're going to do is we're going to do the next question, not step. We'll then say get total size. Now this was a little bit of an unintentional trickiness, but I like the trickiness in it. Int get total size, because it's returning the total size, which is an integer. And the unintentional trickiness which I'm liking is there, because it's teaching proper concepts, is that when I actually go and I say return total semicolon and I loop through my array, because this is all we'll do is we'll create a total, we'll loop through my array and we'll append it there. And you'll notice there that all I need to do is I need to go total plus equals campsites position I dot get size, but there is no get size. I can set the size, but I can't get the size. So here you would have had to realize, oh, I know why that's happening, because it is private. So you wouldn't go ahead and make this public, because that's bad coding. You would literally go and you would create a getter for size. Then you'd go back to here and you go and you say, okay, get size. That is what the challenge was in this question. So there's literally going to be a separate mark for the fact that, a bonus mark, for the fact that you recognized that you would need to change that. If you made it public, you can still get full marks, but if you recognize that you need to create a getter, there's a bonus mark for that. Alright, sweet, so moving on. Next question states something. It says sort sending according to site number, which is stand number. Alright, so public void sort, open brackets, close bracket, open curly brackets, enter. A bubble sort will trick for it, forward tab, and then you'll go I less than num. I've taught you this tons of times, well, many times you've gone through the logic of it. You should all get the logic of it, so I hope you do. If you don't, please come to an extra lesson. Alright, and now here we're going to say if, open brackets, site campsite at position j dot get stand number, not size, stand number is less than campsites position I dot get stand number. Then we want to swap them, and to swap them you have to create a temporary campsite. So campsite temp is equal to campsite whichever one, it doesn't matter, as long as you then immediately overwrite that campsite you just put into temp, and you overwrite it with the other one, with J, the campsite at position J, and then you would go ahead and you would make the campsite at position I, J, sorry, equal to temp. So you've now swapped them around. Yeah, sweet. That's the end of section 1, done in 5 minutes and 33 seconds. Alright, next one, booking class. Let's look what we have to do here. It says create a booking class with fields for the campsite. Now, this part really annoyed me when I was walking around. I was getting very angry, actually. I was biting my tongue in some cases. Create a class called booking with fields for the campsite to be booked, in brackets, a campsite object. Campsite object. So in this, what you would do is you would go into your camps. So you would create a class called booking. So project, right click, new Java class, and we'll call it booking. And then in my booking, we are going to create a private camp. I can't, just because I'm angry with some of you guys, doesn't mean I should write it all capitals. Campsite, we're going to call it just campsite just in small case, because remember, a field is small case, a class is capital letter. And then it's going to ask for a number representing the guests. So emphasis on this object is a campsite object. Private int, it's an integer for a number of guests. And if I look later on, it also requires a number of nights. So nights, and then private string. The strings that it requires is arrival and departure. So arrival, comma, departure. Semicolon. Sweet. Done. Next question it asks here, create a fully parameterized constructor, alt insert constructor, tick, 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 tick. Sweet. Realize if you get something wrong up here, as long as it's fully parameterized for what you've created, you don't use the mark twice. Create setters and getters, which I think you should, because I think it's a stupid mistake. After I asked you to do it, big over here, I don't think I made it bold, but whatever, it was there in brackets, a very important thing. Anyway, now, create a toString. It will contain the following format: the campsite booked for guests from arrival to departure, which is nice. So we create a toString, so blip, 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 alt insert, toString, sweet. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go, okay, first thing we want the campsite. So campsite, the next thing we want is we want an enter, and then we want after that, it's campsite and enter booked for guests. So booked for plus guests. I just can't spell. That's what it turns out. Either I couldn't spell it there, or I can't spell here. I don't actually know. Anyway, whatever. Alright. So guests from arrival, from plus arrival, then it goes till plus departure, which is interestingly enough, you would actually calculate that in a proper program. You would calculate it, but we're not there yet with regards to how we would then determine, how many days is it? Because it is a bit crazy. It will either be able to be stored as a date, or we would have to do crazy string manipulation to get the months, days, and all that kind of stuff. Not crazy string manipulation, but some string manipulation, which we are not there yet. Alright, okay, so now we're going back. No, the next one was get costs. Now, I read through this again now, and I made a stupid mistake. I didn't say whether it was out of season or in season for this booking. And I don't think in the scenario I mentioned it either, that whether it was in the booking or out of season or in season. And unfortunately, it required it for that. So I'm literally going to make this a bonus 3 marks, because you couldn't answer it without that information. And technically, you could have guessed that it was in season or guessed it was out of season, but it did make this method a lot trickier. So I am going to give this as marks. But what it is asking for is I was meant to say get cost, and then in which case you would have then, unless it said, which will return the cost of the booking, the booking, the cost. It should have said it would receive whether the booking is in season or not. There had to be something to determine whether it was in season, and I didn't mention that. So we're just going to say it is in season, just for argument of the sake of this video, but as I said, we wouldn't have been able to do this. So all you would do is you would return the campsite position, not position, dot get cost, and you would say that the guests would be sent during this part here, the boolean for whether it's in season or not. That is where it's going. I might still allow the mark for whether you got the question right with regards to the int or not, but I might just be lenient. You'll see when I mark the thing. And we'd have to times it by the number of nights that they're going to be staying. So you multiply it by nights, and then you've got that there. Alright, next question. So as I say, I'll just give you those 3 marks. Then now here in Campsite Manager, we're moving down. It now asks me for a few other things. It says there, create a method called add. First create an array of the booking class with 500 and initialize and account to keep track of it. So literally you have exactly what you need up there. It's just a different data type. So if you got this wrong, I'll be very irritated. Well, irritated enough. Square brackets to show that it's there. This will then be bookings is equal to new booking size 500 semicolon private int num bookings, and then you'll make this initialize it at 0. Okay, so that's that done. Now we move down to our add booking class, and it says it will receive it, add it into the array, and increment the counter. So again, it's the same sort of thing as this. You've got private void add booking, open brackets. You can take from your booking class, and you can go, okay, I want to receive all these things through. So you might as well put it in the same order. Well, don't Control X, Control C, don't do Control X, and you'd receive those same parameters through, because that is what you're required to add a booking. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go, okay, sweet, I've got what I need. Let's go and go to the bookings. Let's add a booking to position num. You're following exactly what you're doing, what I did with the campsites here. So you could have literally looked at that and done the exact same thing, just for booking. New booking. That's not spell booking. Guest arrival, and then you would increment num bookings plus semicolon, and then after you've done that, the next thing you need to do is you'll need to create a default constructor that will receive through the string representing the file location. Oh, here in this question it says create a default constructor which will receive through a string representing the file location from where it would read and add to the bookings in the array. We're in the campsite manager here, which actually already has a default constructor, which already receives a file name through to it. So I'm going to have to be very careful marking this. As I said, if there's a mistake in the question paper that we take into consideration during marking, and I should have picked that up. But what I would have expected is I could have created a booking file, and you would have a campsite files, because you have 2 different files, and you would work with that. This one would read from our campsite, and this one would read from the booking file. So now we're literally going to do here for the campsite, and I can basically copy and paste this. But now you're also going to realize is that these files won't work, so I can do it inside the same try catch. So we're doing the exact same thing. The only difference is now, one, we don't need to reinitialize if, because if already exists, and this time we don't use campsite, we use the booking file, and here this would be Control R, the campsite file. I'll explain on how I'd mark this at a later stage, because as I said, I said create another default constructor, and you can't create 2 constructors with the same parameters through. And then here, instead of scanning it through F, you can't redeclare the scanner, so you would overwrite the scanner with F, and now we are looping through that one. And hashtag is the same limiter and so forth. But now this is all going to change because it's not the same structure. So if we look at the structure here, I go up and I say, okay, here's the structure, bookings. It goes, it tells me up here, it says it goes campsite number, then the number of guests, the arrival date, end date, number of nights. So we need to break it up into those settings. So we go on to that. I would go, okay, if, so the first thing we're going to get is stand number. So we go int stand number is equal to scr dot get dot next int, and that will get the stand number. But obviously we actually need to have a camp. We then need to actually send through, and I'll explain to you what I'll do just now with that. So int stand number. Now on from there, the next thing that is in there, it's the number of guests. So int guests is equal to scr dot next int, and on from there, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to work with the string arrival date, departure date. So string arrival equals scr dot next, and then departure scr dot next, and then the next thing that we got is the number of nights. Int nights is equal to scr dot next int. So that's the order that it's received there. Now in the add, you'll notice that the first thing it requires is a campsite. So what we can do is we can say get site stand number, and that would actually literally return the position of the object there, and that is the main thing I wanted you to get from this. But unfortunately, and that's that question done. This is the whole paper done in 16 minutes. The only big issue is this here, and we'll have a discussion about, I'll look at yours each individually on how you try to answer that and be as lenient as I can on the marking. But you would have had to at least have tried to read through the file and sat there and gotten into each one of those. So loop through. But that is the solution, and this is how I was actually meaning to have asked it. I should have said add to receive a second string file name. But if you had made it another method, for example, like you could have also, probably a better solution would have been to do this in another method that would be called so you could have done it through this way, where you would have received the file name through and then worked from there, and then in which case you would have had to then gone file f scanner scf and so forth. And throw in the exception, or surround the block with try catch, your choice. Right, so my bad for this question. I will mark this as leniently as possible, but here's a memo, and I hope this helps you for your exams. Good luck.